Join the conversation on Facebook and on Twitter at Kogo Radio.
So can we come up with a profile of bad guys or potential bad guys? I don't think it's going to be that hard. We find out that friends and family members of Ahmad Khan Rahami are saying that he was clearly radicalized. Okay, so that's one thing that we could put in the profile. Number two, he bought a lot of pressure cookers. Seems to me that it's not going to be that hard to follow these people. I mean, we got the Keystone Cops running our government, who deny terrorism, who don't want to say the word bombing. You got this complete example of dysfunction and political correctness in the New York mayor, who doesn't want to call it terrorism, wants to really downplay terrorism. This really cannot be that hard. See it as a real problem and start developing a profile. I mean, who buys 7 pressure cookers? You don't think that that's something we should be looking into? Let's take a look at this from a national security perspective. A terrorism expert joining me on the DeMaio Report is Robert Caltabiano. He's with Global Security. Robert, thanks for swinging by.
Absolutely.
So when you take a look at this, is this, in your opinion, based upon what we know, and I know that we're going to get some more information out soon, is this a lone gunman, a lone wolf, or do you think he might be part of a larger network and cell?
I think number one is we've got to look at is the pieces of the puzzle. You know, if we take, like, this is a 1,000,000-piece puzzle, and bit by bit you're putting these pieces together, you know, wisdom would tell you that, you know, most likely he may have had help, but I don't want to say that, you know, without knowing fully yet. And I think as the days go by, what you just said, we're going to know more pieces of this puzzle. But I would tell you, I don't think that he was very smart. Most of these people aren't.
So, in other words, he left enough fingerprints behind. I don't mean physical fingerprints alone, but he left enough evidence behind for the authorities to track him down pretty quickly.
Well, between that and the device that, you know, that he was putting together, anybody can put that together, unfortunately. You know, as you have said in your show, in its really simplistic form. Yet these things cause a lot of damage. And, you know, these thugs don't have to be right. Where the law enforcement, our communities, they have to be right all the time. And so you're constantly looking for that needle in a haystack.
Well, tell me real quick about how easy it is to put together one of these devices. What are some of the ingredients? Obviously, a pressure cooker. What else?
Well, you know, the very rudimentary aspects of it, it depends on what you're looking at. Look at Timothy McVeigh, what he did, you know, with manure. You know, it is really something that you could buy things over the counter. And, you know, now we live in a free society. And that's something that you and I, we all fight for, is that freedom to be able to go on the Internet, fortunately, and be able to look things up. So it's really a delicate balance as to what you do, you know, and to talk about what these devices are, let's focus on how we can combat this and how do we get involved again.
Every day, 1 to 2 million people board flights in this country, or, you know, globally as well. And we ask them to take their shoes off. We scan their bags. We look at some of their background because when they buy a ticket, there are scans there as well. But when people buy 7 pressure cookers and have multiple cell phones, we don't see that as a red flag. Isn't there perhaps a need for government to take a look at purchase activity and work with the suppliers of these ingredients to maybe flag some of these multiple purchases?
I think, you know, we have to look at the demographics. We're over 300 million people, and the delicate balance of right to privacy and security, and how do we, you know, cross that line. And again, it's like that needle in a haystack to, you know, somebody purchasing these pressure cookers. I think it's going to come back to really is us, the American citizens. If you see something that doesn't look right, what do you do about it? Well, who do you tell about that? If somebody walked into your store and you're selling pressure cookers and they bought 7 of them, maybe you want to take note of it. If they paid with a credit card, maybe you would have their name but it's about us helping law enforcement again and helping the communities because they can't do it all alone. It is a daunting task, and they're doing a great job about it.
Yeah. What is your take on this whole debate about Trump jumping the gun and calling it a bombing, de Blasio not wanting to call it terrorism and going out of his way at a press conference to really underscore that this isn't terrorism, not that we know yet? What is your take from a professional standpoint? I guess it doesn't really matter because you follow the facts. But isn't it important from a vigilant standpoint of letting people know, yeah, there is some guy out there that's potentially engaging in terrorism and setting these bombs?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. We have to be vigilant, and we have to trust the American people. We know what it is out there. When something goes bang in the middle of the night and there's glass flying all over the place, I think that most of us would understand what that is and call it what it is. It's an explosive device. It's a bomb, however we want to call that. But things usually don't blow up by themselves. It happens sometimes, but most likely it doesn't. And we have to get back to the basics and really entrust in the American people and give them the information and let them determine and make up their own decision. Hey, this is what it is. And don't be afraid to say it.
Absolutely. Robert Caltabiano, we really appreciate your expertise here. I know you're in big demand today as a lot of folks are trying to unravel what happened and what to do next. Thank you so much for joining us on the DeMaio Report.
Thank you.